Hi everybody, welcome to Downward Dog Rising. Today we're going to do a low-key, chill type of Hatha Yoga workout, and it's meant to calm, to relax you for if you have insomnia, if you have anxiety, or mild depression. Like, this whole sequence is meant to calm you and just make you feel less anxious so that you could fall asleep at night. Okay, join me. Let's begin. We're gonna start off, we're gonna sit in easy pose, Sukhasana. If your hip flexors are tight, if your low back is tight or sore, take a block. Bring your pelvis up onto the yoga block and start like this so that your hips raise up a little higher, and then that gives you some more support for your low back, your hips, your pelvis. You'll notice how my knees just whoop, totally went straight out. So this is a little bit more conducive to help open the hips, release your spine. Take an inhale. And exhale. If you have a folded up blanket, you can grab a yoga blanket. And slowly, without bending from your spine or your waist, hinge here from the hip socket. And you're just going to gently come forward from the hip socket. So this will help one get a little deeper, so later they can go into a lotus position. I'm not there yet, so I'm choosing this one, Sukhasana. Stay here and breathe. Just observe your breath, breathing in and breathing out. If it's uncomfortable to hinge from your hips, you can also do this one, eye gaze straight ahead, lengthen through top of spine, sink down equally into each sits bone, and just stay right here. Eye gaze straight ahead, drishti point. Open the chest. You're directly on top of your sits bones. Careful that you don't roll behind them and have your chest cave forward. Keep chest lifted. Just feel calm and at peace. Breathing into the sides, the ribs, back of ribs, chest rises, falls, ribs expand. Let's do one more deep inhale here. From here we go into staff pose, Dandasana. You can stay seated on a block or a blanket folded underneath you, or you could sit on your mat. Equal weight on your sits bones. Feel like your inner thighs wrap inward, thighs, back of thighs lengthen. And we're just going to sit tall. Front ribs meet back ribs. Chest is open. Relax your shoulders and allow the hands just to gently caress into the mat. If you're up higher on a block, maybe your hands don't really touch mat. Flex feet. Gently engage, lift front of thighs away from knees. Actively engage the quadricep muscle here so we can get a deeper relaxation response in the hamstring. Actively engage one side so the other side can safely release and let go. It's known as reciprocal inhibition. Lengthen upwards through spine. Gently engage front of thighs, lifting away from knees. Deepen the stretch, back of thighs, hamstrings. Let's do one more deep inhale here. Gently releasing, letting go. You can stay with your block under you or your blanket, or if you want to get a deeper stretch, you feel you're warming up, you can come down, sit on your mat. We're going to do a forward bend. We're going to do forward fold, Paschimottanasana, rising up. If you need like something supporting your knees a little more, you could have your knees supported like that, or you could sit on a folded blanket. Rising up. Be careful that you don't force the legs to straighten and that it makes your pelvis roll behind you, so you're no longer in alignment in your spine. So you want to be careful that the sits bones don't roll back, causing your chest to cave in and your shoulders to round. So you want to prop yourself up if need be, so you're right at the front of those sits bones. Sink into them, rise up, and we're going to hip hinge, avoid bending at the back. From that crease, hip hinge, elongate over the legs. Reach for your shins, reach for your ankles. Maybe you'll grab lateral pinky toe sides of feet, inner thigh lines pull together, feet rotate out, and stay here and breathe. Calming for the spine, calming for anxiety, nerves, good for digestion. Careful with osteoporosis, just hinge a little bit without rounding your back. Careful with disc herniations. We're opening the back of the spine, giving a calming effect. helping with fatigue, anxiety, calming the system. Try to really lengthen out of your center when you inhale. Stretch your spine. Try to keep arms reaching long. One more deep inhale. And slowly we're going to come up. Bend your knees. Reach arms up to sky. Slight little back bend. Lift heart. Gently interclasp fingers. Open shoulder blades apart in your back. Gently rise up. Stretch mid-back in between your shoulder blades. One more. Rising up. Slight little back bend. Open heart. And gently release. If you have a yoga strap or a belt for your pants, you can use either one. And we're going to do something called Padagustasana A, Padagustasana B. So we're going to do big toe pose. So we're going to be in a reclined position. Supta Padagustasana A. We're going to lie down on our back. If you have any neck tension or tightness in your shoulders, you might even take a rolled up blanket, folded blanket, and you could place it underneath your head and neck like that if you like. And then what I want you to do is make sure your shoulders are right in line above your hips. Hips are level, they're even. Shoulders over hips, over center of knees, second toes, ankles, ankles, second toes. We're going to take the right leg, extend it straight to the ground, lengthen through the right half of the pelvis. The thigh bone is falling into the mat. Take your strap or your belt, and you're going to gently reach under the knee. Fold knee to chest for a moment. Take a deep inhale here. Maybe extend leg 5 times, stretching the muscle behind the knee, popliteus, getting into those hamstrings. Take your belt or your strap, wrap it over the bottom of your foot. Extend your leg in the air. Your hips are level. Think of your 2 hip points narrowing together in the front. Think of the back of your pelvis widening against mat below you. Hips level. Pelvis is squared to sky. I want you to relax your shoulders so your chest is open. No tension in neck or shoulders. What I want you to do here Gently, just bring your leg towards you. You could extend like this if you wanted. Arms reach straight. Or you can relax, arms into mat, pull the belt towards you. Keep lengthening, opposite heel into the mat. Back of pelvis firm, rooted into mat. Chest rises, ribs expand laterally, three-dimensionally. Ribs wrap, chest falls. Let's do one more deep inhale here. From here, make sure hips are still squared. I want you to think of reaching from the inside of your thigh, your inner thigh, to the inside of your ankle. If you want, you could put a yoga block on the floor by your side. And as you're stretching through your inner thigh, the inner part of your ankle and heel, keeping the back of the pelvis firm on the mat. Notice how I'm not twisting my body anywhere. I might have to go lower so my leg comes down. Or I might need a block. I'm going to put my foot on a block. There. We're trying to keep our pelvis straight. I'll probably just stay here. I twisted. I stopped myself because I twisted and went out of a neutral position. Keep the length along the leg that's along your mat and in the back of the pelvis. Feel your thigh externally rotate inside your hip socket. Feel length through inner thigh all the way to your ankle. This is also helpful if your low back is tight. We can indirectly help release our low back by getting into our hips. Let's do one more deep inhale here. Slowly you're going to exhale, come center, take foot out of strap, gently extend leg long. Shake out knees for a sec. Reach under opposite leg, right knee pulls in. Let your low back sink into the mat. Slowly see if you can extend and bend. Get behind the knee. Get those hamstrings, back of thigh. Back of pelvis widens into the mat. Hip points come narrow together in front. One more time, extend. Grab your strap or grab your belt. Walk it over the bottom of your foot. This other hip is elongated, thigh is lengthening, psoas stretch, maybe a little into the quad. Quadriceps femoris is one of the 4 quads that also will flex your hip. Gently open chest, relax shoulders into mat. Stay here and breathe. One more deep inhale. So we want to make sure we keep the back of the pelvis even on the mat so we don't lose our stability. Our alignment is important, especially to protect our back. Maybe you want a yoga block to put under your knee or your foot. Now, without twisting your pelvis, reach your leg out to the side. If I go up higher, I tend to start to rotate, so I'm just seeing where I need to be to keep aligned. Shoulders, hips, knees, ankle, knee, ankle. Back of pelvis is still secure into your mat. Front hips narrow together. Back of pelvis widens. Lengthen through right inner thigh, all the way to the inside of that ankle, to the outside of that ankle. One more deep inhale. And slowly bring that leg in. We're going to bend knee in. Gently release foot from strap. Draw knees in. Inhale into the mid-back between your shoulder blades. Exhale, release. Next, I'm going to have you do a little twist, recline twist, cactus your arms, 90 degrees, cross left ankle over your right knee. We're going to slowly start to swivel to the side as our shoulders stay on that. You might put a block under your knee if you need more support. I'm going to take the pillow out from underneath my head now. Collarbones wide. The flat, wide bone across your back, the shoulder blades, the scapula, the inside edge of it, the inside spine of it is gently pulling away from the middle of your spine, stretching away into the mat. Maybe you get a slight stretch through the front of this hip, rib stretch. Spinal stretch. If you have back issues and it bothers you to do twists, please refrain from doing this one. Modify into a figure 4 stretch like this, where you cross knee over ankle, and maybe you'll reach behind your thigh. Maybe you'll come a little closer and reach for your shin. Modified if you do not want to do a twist. We can get really tight in our ribs and in our spines. One more deep inhale. Slowly come out. Reset pelvis. Maybe you'll modify figure 4. Flex feet. Reach under through the legs, behind thigh. Deepening stretch, maybe reach to your shin, flex feet to open hips, or cactus your arms, and you're going to let your legs swivel to where you can keep your shoulders into the mat and breathe. Feel the edge of your scapula peeling away from the center of your spine. Feel your collarbone widening in the front, across the front of your shoulder and chest. As you expand and breathe into those lower ribs, middle ribs, you'll notice you get deeper into the twist without forcing anything. Keep expanding into those ribs. Deep breaths into those ribs or oscillating muscles in between the ribs, expanding and contracting. Maybe you feel front of hip lengthening here. One more deep inhale here. Slowly come back center. Gently hug in. We're going to take our legs straight out. Matsyasana, fish pose. If you wanted to modify, first I'll show hands under back of pelvis. So your hands are going to go right under the back of your pelvis, under your buttocks. Your elbows hug in. You're going to extend the legs out. And you're actually going to be pulling those elbows, shoulders back. Flex your feet. Your feet are flexed, meaning toes to sky. And you're going to arch the center of your spine, stretching the front of your neck, no weight in your head. Elbows pressed down, weight in hands, weight in elbows. Now this might be too much of an extension for you. It might be too much on the shoulders, on the spine. So if you have a blanket, you can use it as a support. I'm going to show you. You can take your blanket, fold it over, give your spine some support for the middle of your back, like thoracic. Then you could take 2 pillows, or you could take 2 blocks. I only have one. You could use a pillow from your couch, from your bed if you want. We're going to bring this into the middle part of our back. And then you can do this with your knees bent like this. And then what you would do, relax your head so your head and your neck have support. And then you could just, here's like a little modified version, because you're getting a stretch here through thoracic spine. It's going to open your chest, your shoulders. Maybe you have palms to sky. And since you're elevating up, this probably is going to be a much more comfortable. See, if you straighten your legs, you're not going to have support and lumbar, spine, low back. So on this one, keep your knees bent. And stay here and breathe. Modified Matsyasana, fish pose. Otherwise, you're reaching under, buttocks. Shoulders pull down and back. Heels flex, rise up. Push down into your elbows. Open shoulders, chest. Ancient texts call this the destroyer of disease. Flex your feet, lengthen legs, abdominals drawing in. One more deep inhale here. Push into those forearms. Weighted hands, no weight in neck, no weight in head. One more deep inhale. Gently exhale. Draw your chin down towards front of neck. Slide. Gently take hands out. And you did it. All right. Turn to one side. And what I want you to do, press all the way up. We're going to do something to go in between our ribs. Because if we breathe shallow, we can get really tight in our rib cage and the muscles in between the ribs. Our thoracic spine gets really tight in the back as well. So we're going to do something called Pavrita Janusarasana. So we're going to do a little version. We're going to twist a little bit. Revolved. I'm just sliding back a little bit. Okay. I'm going to keep my block because I know my ribs are tight. I already know my ribs are really tight. I feel it. Okay, so I'll show you by sitting on a blanket, taking one leg in, extending one leg out to the side. So one leg's in, sole of foot comes in towards groin, and I'm actually coming off the blanket because I'm going to work more on my side opening. Bottom of foot comes in. Take a yoga block along the inside edge of inner thigh. We want to see if we're grounding into each one of our sits bones. We don't want to be leaning into half of our pelvis and going out of alignment. Shoulders over your hips. Bottom, sole of foot towards inner thigh, groin, adductor muscles. So now you're going to take your forearm, palm up, onto your block. You could do this on your yoga mat. And then what we do, we're going to really elongate up. We're opening this whole side here. Flexing foot. If you can get all the way down there, you would be taking the back of this. If I mirror you, it looks like my right shoulder, but I'm on my left side. So if you're in your body and you're watching me, it would be your right shoulder. We stretch over. You would be taking that right shoulder, bracing it into the side of your knee. I'm not down there yet. Stretch up and over. You're still grounding into your pelvis. And then if you want to use another prop, you could take that belt that you had earlier. So your palm is up. You got to stretch your spine long. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. And if you wanted, you could take that strap and really work on the stretch under your armpit, into those intercostals in between your ribs. If you could grab your foot by reaching that way without collapsing, you can do so. Breathing in, relax that shoulder. I can feel things loosening a little bit as I breathe. It's a gradual process. So revolved head to toe, Pavarita Janusarasana, little variation. One more deep inhale here. Starts to open even more. Slowly come up. Woo. All right, so now we go to the other side. Those are always intense for me. All right, we're gonna take other leg in. Extend out. First, make sure that you're not doing anything funky, tilting into half your pelvis, unweighting the other half. I was, so I'm reconnected, finding my center. Inside thigh, groin, those adductor muscles in there. Equal weight. All right, I don't want to bring my left hip. When you look at me, it's going to look like it's my right hip. I don't want to bring this side over with me, so I'm gonna take this block, rise up, stretch spine long. I'm moving these a little. So we're gonna lift, rising up. Palm is gonna go up, forearm on mat. And we're just making sure that we don't lift our pelvis or bring it with us. Sink down, lengthen up. Now start to breathe into those ribs. Maybe you can get under your armpit here, that mid-axillary line right there. And just breathe. If you can reach for your toes, that foot is flexed, go for it. Breathing in, breathing out, stretching rib and hip apart and front. Maybe take your belt or your strap over your foot. Lengthen, inhale, and stretch. Relax shoulder away from ear. Maybe you're feeling the front of your psoas stretch. Maybe you're feeling the side of your spine stretch, quadratus lumborum. Intercostals pulling apart in between your ribs. Going a little deeper. Maybe this is too deep. I'm getting a cramp in my ribs. Pull back when you need to. One more deep inhale. And gently you're gonna come up. All right. Okay. This next one, I'm gonna have you take your blanket in front, maybe your yoga block. We're gonna stretch straddle. Just gently release each side of your low back. Your feet are gonna flex. You're just doing like a little side to side. Knead out the backs of those upper thighs. Those 3 different hamstrings. As you put pressure down against them. Feel how they kind of push deeper into the mat. You're giving the backs of those legs a little massage. Back and forth. Heels touch down on mat. Reach through balls of feet, center part of foot. Toes to sky and your knees are to your sky. It's important for our hip integrity that we keep our knees and our toes facing up to sky. Return center. Sink down into the sits bones. Lift to top the head. Doing a little straddle. I borrowed something from Yin Yoga. Front of thighs, quadricep muscles can actively engage and lift away from knees so the backs of those thighs can get a deeper stretch. Ease into it. You'll feel how your body just naturally goes deeper as you breathe into it. Using your breath as a mechanism. Inner to outer. Relax shoulders. Maybe you take a block. Maybe you rest forehead on it, up here. Maybe you go a little deeper. Or you just keep arms reaching on your blanket. Actively reach out of those legs, bottoms of legs. Press down into mat, front of thighs, engage, reach through your heels. Both legs reach into opposite directions, away from your center. Energy through the arches. Hip hinge. No folding from the back, from the spine. Hinging from those hip joints. Modified, sit on your blanket and you can bend your knees and do little butterflies, Baddha Konasana. If you want to modify more. Another calming pose on our system for fatigue, for anxiety, stress. Helping our digestion, internal organs. One more deep inhale. And slowly, gently, you're going to come in All right. So this next exercise that I want you to do, we're going to release stagnant energy out of our low back tailbone. We're going to do both big toes pose. Thinking of a word, Ugaya. No, wait a minute, that's not it. I want to say Ugaya Padagustasana, both big toes, but it's not totally correct, so forgive me on that one. Okay, a key point to remember. This is going to go to a subtle energy body around our body. We're going to release stuck energy from the bottom of our spine, from the tailbone, so it can travel, and the energy, the prana, the chi, can travel back up the spine and not get lost. So we want to build energy in our body. So for both big toes, it really doesn't matter if your legs aren't straight. What really matters is that your spine is straight. It's more important to have a straight spine and allow your knees to bend than it is to force those legs to totally go straight and then have your spine fall. So for this one, you're going to be on your sits bones, both big toe. If you want, you can take your index fingers, middle fingers, rise up. Now, if you feel your pelvis starting to sink back and your spine rounds, I want you to keep chest lifted. I want you to just reach up, allow your leg to be bent a little bit like this. Go right onto your sits bones. You're going to be right on those sits bones. A little bit, right behind them. So it's more important to keep your spine straight, lengthened, and not sink into it. So you're going to be at a balance point, and then any range where your spine can stay straight, stay there. And just breathe. Any variation. So doing this, every single person who does it, they're going to look different than the person next to them. Spine is long. Remember, we're releasing stagnant energy in the subtle body. You can also use a belt. I forgot to tell you. You can use a belt like that. That's okay too. One more deep inhale here. And gently release. So we're going to go into Gomukhasana, cow face. Last pose we're going to do today. So if you go into Dandasana, your staff, You're going to cross. You're going to bend one leg in, cross. My years of running will show up when I go to do these kind of poses. So you would cross one knee over the other. One day, I'm hoping to get symmetrical, try to get equal weight into those sits bones. Can flex feet to help the integrity of your hips. These hips openers are so intense when you have tight hips from years of running. It's good for runners and cyclists. If you find yourself ignoring these poses because they hurt, that means they're the ones you really need. So you don't want to ignore them. Okay. A modified way to do this would be just to have your arms relaxed down by your sides. We're going to do something for our shoulders. Avoid this if you have herniated discs in the neck, or if you have shoulder issues like torn rotator cuff, you had surgery. Maybe just do this way for modification so you don't hurt your shoulder or your neck. So we're going to take the right arm straight to the sky, really lengthen it. And then what I want you to do, you're going to fold that arm behind your head without letting your head go out of alignment. That elbow stretching upwards. So my palm is reaching down to the center of my back between my blades. My other arm is going to go underneath across the low part of my back. And then I'm actually going to take my fingertips upwards as my other hand fingertips come downwards, and both hands are reaching towards each other. Maybe they touch, maybe they don't. Spine is long. Inhale, lengthen. Head is in alignment. You can also use your strap. Reach behind your back. Grab a hold of the strap with each hand. And gently hold each edge of the strap. This will help open shoulders, release shoulders, move stuck energy. But do the modification if you need to. If you've had shoulder surgery, I wouldn't just go right into this one. One more deep inhale here. Gently release. Come into Dandasana, staff pose, sit tall. All right, we're switching sides now. So, other side, right leg's gonna fold in. That left knee is gonna go over that right one. My left hip is actually tighter. If you have a tighter side, it's okay. We have to start somewhere. We try to work for better symmetry and balance in our bodies. just so we don't injure ourselves, because if we get too disproportionately out of balance, that's when the injuries start to occur, because we pull our hips out of alignment, our pelvis goes off balance, off center, hips, one could be higher than the other, one could be twisted, rotated. So you're gonna flex your feet, woo, flex those feet, give more support to your hip and your knees. And again, modify, you could just stay here with your arms here. You could hip hinge forward if your back and hips allow it. Or we can take the other arm up, left arm straight up. Think of that elbow pointing to the sky. Fingertips reach down the back. Palm comes down towards back. Then we rotate, bring that arm behind, swallow the back. Then we'd start reaching our hand, palm away, up the back towards the other hand. Neck is long. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Maybe you take a strap or a belt, reaching the hands closer together. One points down, the other one points up. Top palm points down towards back, bottom palm points away. See if those hips release a little, equal weight through each half of pelvis, working towards that. Let's do one more deep inhale here. And gently release. Woo. Okay. So, we're going to do a little reverse table pose. Breathing in, that was intense for me. My hips, my shoulders. Press into all four corners of your feet. Unweight your shoulders by pressing from armpits into your palms. Coming up into a table position. Reverse bridge. I might have said reverse table. So we're in a table, which is reverse bridge. Pelvis lifts to sky. Hips in line with knees. Tighten core. Collarbones wide. Open chest. Just doing a little release. One more deep inhale. And gently come on down. All right. We're going to take a Savasana now. I'm just going to lower down to our mat. All the way. Extend the legs long. I'm just going to let what we did today sink in. Let the work and the practice sink into our bodies. Relax the feet, the knees, the legs. Let the breath just go. Peace and calm. Feeling mellow, feeling chill. Releasing the day. Embracing the night. each a cycle, each of equal value. Day and night, sun and moon, yin and yang. Each is needed in order for the other to be. There cannot be one without the other. That is a law of existence. You have to learn how to balance the two out with yourself as well as with others. And that's the key. Feeling relaxed, at ease, calm, and at peace. Slowly start to wiggle your hands. Slowly start to wiggle your feet, your toes. Bring your awareness back into the physicality. We're going to stretch our arms over our head. Stretch, elongate our entire spine. If you can, turn to your right side. I'm going to turn and face the camera, so I'm going to turn the opposite way. Take a moment on your side. And then we're going to slowly press to a seated position and close out our practice. Slowly press up. So today was a little different pace. Come back into that easy pose. So I thank you everybody for joining me for this practice tonight. May you all be blessed. Meta blessings, loving kindness, peace to you all. Appreciate you for joining me on the mat. If you like my content, please like or share or subscribe so I can grow my channel. I'd appreciate it. Feel calm, feel balanced, and at ease. All right, this concludes our practice. Thanks, everybody. Peace. Till next time, take care. Bye. Bye.